country on this planet that could significantly militarily challenge us as we start invading that part of the world. And here's the bottom line. If the United States was not going around the planet invading everybody else's country, we would not have these problems. I mean, look how much money we spent on Iraq and Afghanistan, and apparently did not make the profit on this venture that was predicted during the Bush administration. And all they can think of doing is, let's go on invading. They're in Somalia today. They're in Pakistan. They want a war. They want a wide regional war. They want a new world war, not just war on one country. Go back and study the history of how Hitler just started invading country after country after country after country. That is exactly what the United States is doing. Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Pakistan. Next up, Iran. Dominoes going down the road. Now, it is an historical fact that since the beginning of the 20th century, every major war has been lost by the country that initiated it. And the U.S. is doing the initiation. We're going around invading other countries. That's why the rest of the world hates us. It's not because we're free, because we certainly aren't. The rest of the world hates the United States of America because they recognize we are the 21st century version of the Nazis. We've got torture, we've got concentration camps, we've got spies on the people, we're invading countries, we've got a hoax involving twin towers to kick off a century of perpetual war. It's amazing. It's amazing. And here's the part I want you to think about before we move on. As we see this push for war, there is more than just the fact that war will, in theory, scare the American people back into loyalty to the government. I think they're betting on a busted flush with that one, but I digress. There's more than just a loyalty issue. There's more than just the fact that we will gladly tolerate impoverishment to fight a war, whereas we won't tolerate impoverishment to make the bankers richer. What is at stake here is that we have too many world leaders who see a world war as solving all their problems, whether it's overpopulation or too much debt, or they want more territory or whatever. Too many people see war as to their advantage. And the banks love war. If you've ever seen this movie, The International, there is a very honest piece of dialogue right in the middle of it, where this bank executive is telling these investigators, he says, the reason the bank is buying and selling all these weapons, we want a war. Because we make money off war. War plunges everybody into debt, and debt is what gives the banks wealth and power. One of the investigators says something to the effect of, which side do you want to win? The bank says, I don't care. It doesn't matter which side wins. Both sides go into debt. And in the coming war that they're trying to get us into in the United States, the bottom line here is that we're going to lose. We are not the industrial power that we were for World War I and World War II. We will lose this war. And the bankers don't care. The bankers don't care because both sides will be left in debt that will be paid off by taxpayers over the next 100 years. That's what's going on here. And in order to enrich themselves, the powers that be have decided as of right now that they're perfectly willing to send several million of you to your deaths in this coming war, because that's what a world war will do. They have already decided they're going to kill off or allow to die or be killed off millions of you. We lost 60 million in World War II. I wonder how many are going to die in World War III. They have made that decision. Very obviously, they're pushing in that direction. And if you let them start that global war, you are probably one of the people who's going to die. Because those very nice, very expensive underground bunkers the U.S. government has been building for the last 15 years, you didn't get a key, did you? Your taxes paid for it. You did not get a key. Check your key ring. I'll bet you it's not on there. Now, obviously, the next major front of the wars is in Iran because, well, Israel doesn't like them. And I guess that's considered a justifiable reason to invade and kill anybody right now. They're still trying to make an issue over Iran's power station, even though the International Atomic Energy Agency has repeatedly inspected their facility, a courtesy Israel will not extend to the world, I might add, and said it's a power station. And the Russians who are building it are saying it's just a power station. And if the U.S. were in compliance with Article 4 of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, we would be in there helping them build their power station and would know for a fact that it is just a power station. Now, Israel's the one who is leading the charge to say that Iran is building clandestine nuclear weapons underneath their power station. Probably it's a projection of guilt because we know that Israel is doing that underneath the Dimona reactor. It's the world's worst kept secret. But you have to remember that in terms of these accusations of other countries doing what Israel is doing, Israel is batting zero because they made the same accusation about Iraq, the power station at Osirik. So Israel went in and bombed it, and then following the 2003 invasion, international experts examined the remains of the power station, and guess what? It was a power station. There was no sign of any kind of a clandestine weapons laboratory. And by the way, it is not something that will fit in a closet somewhere. When you're talking about the additional enrichment to go from reactor fuel to weapons-grade uranium, you're talking about a complex of machines, centrifuges, covering hundreds of acres of territory. It is not easy to hide. So, now, of course, going back to the Bush administration, the U.S. case against Iran rests solely on a single piece of evidence. Somebody found a laptop full of documents pertaining to nuclear weapons design. Oh, my goodness, this must be Iranian. And that was, in fact, the entire foundation for Bush's accusations that Iran was building nuclear weapons. Now, the IAEA has been kind of ignoring evidence that those documents were forgeries. And we have certainly seen enough of those forgeries. But we have seen reported many, many times that the original source for this laptop was the Mujahideen-e-Khalq, the MEK, which is listed by the U.S. State Department as a terrorist organization. The MEK is claiming they got this laptop from the Mossad. We're going to go to the phones. We've got Brian in Arizona. Aloha, Brian. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, how are you?
I'm hanging in there, drinking coffee.
Yeah, I think this is all garbage about them having the nuclear weapons and everything, and I think it's just another ploy to go in, and I think they're going to carpet bomb. Jack McLam talks about them, if they go in, they're just going to go in and annihilate them from the air.
Oh, they have to. They have to. Brian, we got to take a break. Hang on to the phone, though. I want to keep you into the next segment, so just stay on the line there. We're going to take a break for some commercials. We'll be back. Our phone line is 800-259-9231. The phone lines are loading up. Call in, get on the air, have fun. We'll be right back.
You're listening to GCN, the Genesis Communication Radio Network.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back. We're talking with Brian in Arizona. We're talking about what appears to be the opening salvos of World War III. And we, the people of planet Earth, billions and billions, I'm doing my Carl Sagan impression here, billions and billions of human beings across the planet, and we don't want war. We don't want bombs falling down on our heads. But we've got these bankers who make money off of war, and the defense manufacturers make money off the war.
Wait.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no. No, go ahead, finish. I forgot I was on.
Oh, okay. And they're just, there's so much money to be made and extracted from the people by keeping us in a constant state of war. Believe it or not, when George Orwell wrote 1984, and there was a book within the book, The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism, and he actually wrote out part of it at one point. And he had some very wise observations in there. And said the big purpose for war was to destroy work product of the common people in order to justify keeping them at work. We're not allowed to make a better life for ourselves because our rulers don't want to let us off that labor hook. If we all became rich, who would fix the sewers and lay the roads and bury the dead and the other 1,000 distasteful jobs that makes a society run? So impoverishment is built into every political system, whether it's socialism, fascism, or even capitalism. The vast majority of people are intentionally kept poor. Brian, I didn't mean to go off on a rant there.
Okay. Well, the folks over at Oracle Broadcasting are bagging on your buddy. They call him Bullhorn Boy down in San Antonio. But AJ was talking about the other day about Net and Screwloose going over to Russia and talking to them, and it was a secret meeting, and he thinks it has to do with attacking Iran. And I don't know if there's any truth to that.
Oh, I agree absolutely. What my sources are telling me is that Netanyahu tried to convince Russia to sit this out when we go into Iran, and Russia said, no, they're our trading partner. That's our reactor until they pay for it, and we've got our national people on the ground there. And this is why all of a sudden, after Netanyahu comes back, now the U.S. is demonizing Russia. Ooh, they're the